In 2023, we have entered a new era of human space exploration. We've seen NASA kick off the first stage of their Artemis program, with sights set firmly on returning to the moon. At the same time, SpaceX is making strides towards fulfilling Elon Musk's master plan of colonizing Mars with the Starship. But there is an equally ambitious space program that continues to fly under the radar for most casual observers, and that, of course, is China. Over the next decade to come, the Chinese have their own version of a master plan to take over the space surrounding the Earth, the Moon, and even extend their presence to Mars. Here is how they're going to do it. This is the space race. So far, we've seen the Chinese catch up to the Western and Russian space programs on nearly every front. They've successfully flown a crew-rated space capsule, sent robotic missions to the moon, built a space station, and even successfully landed a rover on Mars. But there's one category where the Chinese are still lacking: a heavy lift rocket. And that is going to change with the upcoming Long March 9. Massive rockets with a super heavy lift capability are essential to interplanetary travel. This is how NASA was able to land on the moon back in the 60s with their Saturn V, generating 7.6 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. This is the only way that you can get a crew to the moon, along with all of the infrastructure that they need to land and then come home again safely. The Soviets made an attempt to exceed the Saturn V with their own N-1 rocket back in the old space race, but it exploded every time that they tried to launch. And now, NASA has their second-generation Super Heavy rocket in operation, the SLS, which pushes the record to 8.8 million pounds of thrust. And meanwhile, SpaceX are inching closer to getting their own Super Heavy rocket into orbit, the Starship, which will far exceed even the SLS in terms of raw power. So, this is the league of rocket power that the Chinese need to enter in order to compete, and right now, they are a bit late to the party. Before we dive into that, you've got a phone, right? Then you should be playing today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Every great game has some serious challenges waiting near the end, and that end game is the Doom Tower, and it's a heck of a ride. The bosses are really tough, and you'll need some serious specialists if you're going to beat them. There's also a huge Christmas event for you guys. Download Raid from the links below, copy your player ID from in-game, and then go to 12daysofraid.polarium.com, link in the description, enter your player ID, and then set out on a fun festival adventure that lasts 12 days, running from December 19th to January 10th. Each day, play a new minigame for a chance to win some amazing in-game and real-life prizes worth up to $1,000. Existing Raid players head to 12daysofraid.polarium.com and find a special promo code for a small festive gift. They've released a legendary champion based off MMA and pro wrestling legend Ronda Rousey. You can get Ronda for free right now. Just log in, play Raid for 7 days between now and February 20th, and Ronda's yours. You also use the special promo code RAIDRONDA to get a bunch of helpful stuff. So click my link in the description or scan my QR code on the screen, and you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free champion, Ana, and lots more. All of this treasure will be waiting for you here. The Long March 9 was first announced a decade ago and was envisioned as a 103-meter-tall rocket with a massive 9.5 meters in diameter. For context, that is larger than the SLS at 8.4 meters and even larger than the 9-meter diameter Starship. And the Long March 9 would achieve 140 metric tons of payload to low Earth orbit, 50 tons to lunar injection orbit, and 44 tons to Mars. This would be achieved by using 4 chemical engine side boosters loaded with an insane dual-chamber kerosene-burning engine called the YF-130, each twin-nozzle engine making 480 tons of thrust. Each booster would have 2 of these YF-130s, with another 4 loaded into the core stage. That would be followed up by a second stage with 2 YF-90 hydrogen engines continuing to push the payload into orbit with 230 tons of thrust each, very similar to the RS-25 engines on the SLS. and the final send to the desired orbit would be made by a third stage with 4 YF-79 hydrogen-burning vacuum-optimized engines with 25 tons of thrust each. So this is a beast of a rocket, and with the capability to put 50 tons into lunar orbit, it would give China the power they need to construct their own moon base and infrastructure with a sustained human presence. However, even though we have seen various hot fire testing of different engines for the Long March 9, this rocket has yet to materialize as a full-scale prototype. And that's made even more complicated by China's recent pivot to a new design of the rocket that brings it much more in line with the SpaceX Starship design, replacing the 4 side boosters with one massive reusable core stage. So, in the most recent 2022 rendering of the Long March 9, the rocket has grown to 111 meters tall and 11 meters in diameter. So now we are looking at what would be by far the widest rocket ever made. The number 11 is very significant to Chinese feng shui culture. It's considered extremely favorable and prosperous, along with the number 9 being associated with longevity and good luck. So these dimensions likely have more to do with symbolism than science, which is just something to keep in mind. Anyway, the new reusable core stage would be upgraded to 26 methane-burning engines, each with 220 tons of thrust and arranged around the booster in a very familiar circular pattern. This is almost a one-for-one copy of the SpaceX Super Heavy booster for the Starship program. Not that that's the worst thing ever, most rockets look more or less the same, but it's pretty obvious where they found their inspiration. So that's left a bit of an open question about just what version of the Long March 9 China is actually going to make. Will they follow through with the original design that has already been in development and testing, or scrap all of that work and concentrate on the Starship knockoff? Hard to say, but we've seen the Chinese with a pretty consistent history of iterating on their rocket designs and building multiple variants of the same class of Long March rocket. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do build the original Long March design sometime in the next 5 years, just to cement that capability, and then work on the reusable upgrade for operation sometime in the 2030s. Because for China to execute their master plan for space exploration, they are going to need a heavy lift rocket sooner rather than later. We'll get more into that a little later though. But until they get it figured out, we know that China has a plan for a stopgap moon rocket, an upgraded version of the Long March 5, often referred to as the Long March 5DY or Long March 5G. This is essentially just a taller and more powerful version of their current Long March 5 that would up the rocket's payload capacity to 70 metric tons to low Earth orbit and 27 tons to lunar transit orbit. We've seen the current Long March 5 muscle the Tiangong space station modules into orbit, which is impressive, but that has shown to be the absolute limit of what this rocket can do. The effort required to get the 20-ton Wangtian and Mengtian laboratories into orbit required the Long March 5 core booster to burn up every last ounce of fuel, leaving it to come plummeting back down to the Earth as an out-of-control, flaming cloud of metal debris that rains down on whatever unfortunate parcel of land happens to be in its path. So that's not ideal, and the more powerful variant is going to fix that. The Long March 5 upgrade is going to allow China to send larger and more complex robotic missions to the moon, or even accomplish a crewed landing before the year 2030. Even without the Long March 9, China could still send people to the moon. They'd just need to use 2 of the Long March 5DY. The plan is that one rocket would carry the crew capsule, while the other would bring the lunar lander and ascent vehicle. Then, after arriving in orbit, the crew would transfer from one to the other, and after a short stay on the moon, launch back up to the capsule and transfer again for the return home. This is basically the same plan as NASA's Artemis 3, just on a much smaller scale. We know that China is developing a new, more capable crew capsule for a mission just like this, an upgrade over their existing Shenzhou spacecraft. All we really know about China's new ship is that it would be similar in size to the Orion spacecraft from the Artemis program, with a command module and accompanying service module. Although it would have to be significantly lighter, And we've seen the Chinese conduct one test flight with a prototype capsule in May 2020 using a Long March 7 as the launch vehicle. And all of that feeds into what can really be referred to as China's master plan for space exploration, the International Lunar Research Station. Now, this was famously announced as a joint operation between China and Russia in the summer of 2021. Obviously, that's become a lot more complicated in the meantime, and we've seen China more or less ditch any mention of the Russian space agency from their more recent updates on the moon base, which I don't see being a problem for the overarching goals with the ILRS. The Chinese are already significantly more advanced with their space program than Russia has ever been. The Russian space program has essentially been stagnant for at least 20 years, if not more, so it's unlikely they would have contributed much aside from additional manpower and manufacturing capability, something that China has no lack of anyway. But this does put increased pressure on China to complete their Long March 9 in some form by the end of the 2020s. We can see from the Chinese roadmap that they are going to be relying on their upgraded Long March 5DY for the second half of the Chang'e program's robotic exploration of the moon. Chang'e 6, 7, and 8 will all launch between now and 2030, but those are just a precursor to set the stage for the primary mission. There are 5 ILRS landings scheduled between 2031 and 2035, each deploying a component of the future moon base. ILRS 1 establishes the command center with basic energy and telecommunications facilities. Mission 2 brings lunar research and exploration facilities. Mission 3 is all about in situ resource utilization technology. Mission 4 puts all of that into use with a robotic exploration and experiment mission complete with a distributed sample collection and return. Then, Mission 5 will establish lunar-based astronomy and Earth observation capabilities. Now, like we talked about off the start, in order to do complex activities like that on the moon, you need a very big and very powerful rocket to get all of that stuff up there. And we can see from the Chinese diagram that they expect ILRS-1 to launch on what they call a heavy rocket. And from the picture, we can clearly see it's the original 4-booster concept of the Long March 9. And interestingly, the plan shows that these launches will alternate between the Long March 9 and a very similar Russian heavy rocket. Now, not to dump on Russians too hard here, they have plenty of very talented aerospace engineers and scientists that make me look like a brain-dead Neanderthal by comparison. But unfortunately, their president has decided to throw away any chance of prosperity with a pointless invasion of Ukraine, so whatever this second heavy rocket was supposed to be, I can't imagine we'll ever see that. Which puts a lot of pressure on the Long March 9, which is why I wanted to talk about that rocket so much at the beginning. And it's also the reason why I think that China will go ahead and build the original full expandable side booster version first and get that into operation as soon as they can. Then they are free to experiment with the reusable 26-engine booster concept. We've seen how much trouble that has given SpaceX over the past couple of years, so we know that it is going to be extremely difficult to get right. The idea would be that over the course of deploying these 5 ILRS missions, that would then certify the Long March as being safe enough for human transport, and that should result in the Chinese then flying regular crewed missions to their fully decked out new moon base by around 2035. What do you think is going to happen though? NASA has a slight lead with their successful Artemis 1, but they still have a very long way to go before they actually touch down on the moon. And that requires SpaceX to follow through with their preposterously difficult Starship program. So, could the Chinese leapfrog both of them by going it alone? Drop your theories below. Meet us back here every week for more updates on everything aerospace industry and interstellar exploration related. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up today if you liked it. That really helps us out for real. And subscribe to the Space Race for more videos just like this. We do one long form essay and one news update every week. And if you'd like more, we've got 2 more on the screen for you right now.